You know that feeling when you're home alone and the house settles. A creak from the floorboards, a pop from the pipes, you brush it aside. You have to. Otherwise, you'd go crazy. You tell yourself it's just the normal sounds of an old house settling. But what if the house isn't just settling? What if it's listening? This isn't just a spooky story. This is what happened to me after I inherited my grandmother's house. A place filled with the scent of old books and lemon polish. A place I loved. Until I discovered it was harboring a secret. A secret that had a voice. The house was a large, sprawling Victorian on the edge of a quiet town. It had been in the family for generations. After the funeral, it felt empty, but not in a bad way. Just quiet. Peaceful. Or so I thought. The first few nights were fine. Then, the sounds began. Not the usual groans and creaks. These were different. It started with scratching. Faint, like a mouse in the walls. I set traps, but nothing worked. The scratching continued, always at night, always from the same spot, the wall at the end of the upstairs hallway. A blank wall, with nothing on the other side except the dark crawl space under the rafters. Then came the whispers. At first, I woke up at 3 a.m., convinced I heard someone say my name. Just a sigh at the edge of sleep. I blamed the wind, my imagination, grief. But it grew clearer. It was a voice. Muffled, like someone was talking through glass. I couldn't make out the words, but the tone, it was pleading. Desperate. And it was coming from that same hallway wall. I started avoiding that end of the hall. I felt a cold draft there, even in the middle of summer. The air smelled stale. Old. Like damp soil and opened graves. One night, I reached my limit. The whispering was louder and more urgent. I grabbed a flashlight, my heart pounding like a trapped bird. I pressed my ear to the floral patterned wallpaper. It felt ice cold. Then I heard it. Clearer than ever before. Not my name. A sentence. Let me out. I stumbled back, my blood turning cold. This wasn't in my head. This was real. The next day, I called a handyman, pretending to suspect a pest infestation. I needed someone to break open that wall. Old Pete came over. He knew my grandmother. He tapped the wall, his frown deepening. Strange. Sounds hollow here, but the blueprint for this place doesn't show any plumbing or vents running through this section. He took a crowbar to the wall. The drywall cracked and splintered. And behind it wasn't insulation. It wasn't pipes. It was another wall. Made of rough-hewn timber. Like the inside of a barn. There was a seam in the middle. A door. My throat went dry. A door. Sealed inside my hallway wall. Pete looked pale. Lydia, I don't like this. This isn't right. This looks really old. There was no handle. Just a heavy, rusted iron bolt on our side. Like something had been locked in. Pete, bless him, refused to touch it. He said it was a job for someone else, muttered something about bad feelings, and left. I was alone again, staring at this hidden door. That night the house was completely silent for the first time in weeks. No scratching. No whispers. The silence was worse. It felt like something was waiting. I couldn't stand it. I had to know. I took a hammer and a pry bar. I worked on the rusted bolt, my hands shaking. It screeched in protest, but it finally gave way. The door wasn't locked. It was just stuck, swollen shut from decades of humidity. I put my shoulder into it, and with a groan that sounded too much like a human sigh, it swung inward. The smell hit me first. That same smell from the hallway. Damp earth. Decay. And something metallic. Coppery. I shone my flashlight into the darkness. The space was about the size of a walk-in closet. Empty. Completely empty. The floor was packed dirt. And the walls were covered in writing. Not scratched. Written. In what looked like rust, or something darker. The same phrase, repeated over and over, in frantic, jagged handwriting that spiraled from floor to ceiling. No one can hear you. And in the center of the far wall, a single final sentence was scrawled, the letters large and desperate. I was here first. I backed away. I slammed that ancient door shut. I slid the bolt. I had drywall guys come in the next day and seal it up for good. I told them it was a structural issue. They didn't ask questions. I thought that would be the end of it. The house was quiet again. For a whole week, it felt peaceful. But last night, I woke up. No whispers. No scratching. It was a knock. From the other side of my bedroom wall. Not frantic. Not scared. Calm. Patient. 3 firm knocks. An answer. A confirmation. It knows I'm here. It knows I found it. And the worst part is that the knocking isn't coming from the sealed hallway anymore. It's coming from a different wall every night. Like it's moving. Traveling through the spaces inside my walls. I don't sleep anymore. I just sit in my living room, in the quiet, and I wait. I wait for the next knock. I keep all the lights on. Because I'm not trapped in here with it. It's trapped in here with me. And it wants to be let out. Sometimes, the most terrifying secrets aren't buried in the ground. They're hidden in the one place you're supposed to feel safe, the walls of your own home. So the next time you hear your house settle, maybe listen a little closer. What do you think was in that room? Let me know in the comments. And remember, sometimes it's better not to knock back.